Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I am going to be talking about Cancer and love, the zodiac sign Cancer and love. And anyway, it does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Well, anyway, people, first thing, as far as Cancer and love goes, well, Cancer, of course, in love can be very nurturing, very compassionate and sympathetic. They are rather a docile and gentle sign. Their sense of humor is such, and also they will, if they are interested in somebody, it could often be, as far as in a romantic manner, that is, they will often maybe take a subtle or indirect approach to it. A lot of times they may not directly come out and say, well, I'm interested in you, and say if it's New Year's or something, you might say something like, did you hear about that new song that's associated with what are people doing for New Year's? Or I'm just throwing that out arbitrarily. I don't even know if that song actually exists, but if it did, that would be something as an example that Cancer would say. And anyway, the thing about it is, Cancers are really, because they're so sensitive, a lot of times it takes them a while to commit to a relationship. It's not for the same reason, say, like a Gemini. Gemini is more, just has often an aversion just to a commitment in general, because I think that it might endanger their ability to have their enjoyment, to have their fun and their variety in their life. But with Cancer, it's more of a feeling of being hurt. They take their time. They could be very methodical in the process of really getting to the point where they would marry somebody. Often, I mean, consider this, that in a solar or natal chart, Capricorn will fall on the 7th house cusp. And that's the house of relationships, of course. And really, what it is, I mean, there can be, of course, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn can indicate delays. And Cancer may not marry until rather late in life. Now, I'm 46 and not married. There's other indicators in my chart for this, but there's a multitude, and of course, I don't have time to get on a Gemini moon tangent and ramble about them, but it might have something to do with that. But as far as Capricorn being on the 7th house cusp, but in a solar natal chart for Cancer. But anyway, thing about it is too, and having Capricorn on the 7th in those instances, Cancer might be attracted, of course, to an older person in a love relationship, or at least somebody that may embody Capricorn characteristics, or even Capricorn, of course, in as far as the sign goes. Because they want someone that's going to take their relationship seriously, and someone that's not going to hurt them, and someone that's not going to be about any emotional manipulation. And the thing about it is, Cancer being so sensitive, I mean, even an unintentional slight, sometimes they might misconstrue for a derogatory remark, and it might hurt their feelings. And the thing about it is, if you're in a relationship with a sun, moon, or ascendant in Cancer, well, you might have to handle them with kid gloves and kind of be a little bit more careful than the average as far as how you say things, because they may take, a lot of times, even if something's ambiguous, they might automatically take it as the more negative statement as opposed to the possible positive one. And their feelings too can get hurt very easily. Them and Cancer and Pisces, I think, are actually probably the two most sensitive signs of the zodiac, and I would know something about it having a stellium in Cancer, of course. And the thing about Cancer too is, if you marry a Cancer, I mean, you can essentially be married to their family. I mean, this may be true in a lot of instances with other signs when you do marry somebody. However, with Cancer, that family is so prominent with Cancer, it's like they're more inclined to bring their family with them on it could be trip, or just general places that they go with their significant other. Their family, the person that Cancer gets involved with has to be cognizant of the fact that Cancer a lot of times will have things they have to do with their family members, and really, and the thing about it, that is something that really has to be considered strongly if you do get connected with a Cancer, a Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person. And the thing about it too is that Cancer, despite being sensitive, may not always disclose or divulge their feelings. I mean, like with me, for instance, having a Cancer Sun and I have different Ascendant being Taurus, thing about it is, I mean, things can hit home with me. Having a Taurus Ascendant and Gemini Moon, what happens is it's not really shown superficially, especially because of the Taurus Ascendant being the astrological mask and facade, of course. And things may hit home with me and affect me very deeply because the Sun is my true self, and I'm not showing it outwardly a lot in situations with people, but I can feel it more deeply than a lot of other people can, I think, because of that. And the thing about it is, if you know someone, say, that has a Cancer Sun and, say, a different Ascendant, say a non-water Ascendant, don't think that those things aren't going to hit home with them. Someone could have a Gemini Ascendant but have a Cancer Sun, and things can really hit home with them, and they're just not showing it superficially because their outer mask is a lot different than perhaps what their inside is. So, and the thing too about Cancer is that they have a mother complex often, and even a man can show these qualities, these strong nurturing and protective qualities of that person they get involved with in a romantic relationship / significant other situation. And they could be, and despite Cancer being a sign that's generally passive and non-confrontational, if somebody does something to one of their family members, and that would include somebody as far as a significant other or romantic partner, what have you, they will often be the type that may fight to the end for that person. Because, I mean, Cancer, really, I know they're not ruled by Venus, but there's something about Cancer that just seems to love so strongly, and I think on average perhaps stronger than the other signs. And I think that there's a correlation with that and why they get hurt so much and so easily in a love relationship, because a lot of times Cancer will work so laboriously into putting so much effort into doing things for that other person, and if they don't even get half in return, a lot of times they wind up being shell-shocked and being very hurt and bewildered because of that. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the zodiac sign Cancer and love. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be talking about Leo and love. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.